welcome to another episode of On the Capo podcast. I'm your host, David, and alongside yours truly, as in every week, we have our good friend Ahmed.
David, happy Monday.
Thanks, sir. Welcome. And our good friend John. How you doing, John?
Doing well. Looking forward to a nice little vacation in the middle of the season.
Absolutely. And John has power. He has the power. So he's going to be able to talk with us. John and I had a fantastic time at OCB last week. And once again, reiterate, go support the boys, go show up at the Osceola County Stadium. Guys, we would like to remind you that we are live right now, and you can follow us on Instagram. We are live on X. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Twitch. We are on TikTok. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky. At the Capo Stand, on the Capo Stand podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify on audio. You can enjoy this conversation later on, if you will. And we are live on YouTube at Davis Channel 76. So wherever that is, give us a thumbs up, subscription. That really helps us out. If you would like to jump on and talk with us, send us a message. Prefer, like Facebook, X. Those are the ones that we monitor often, and send us a message and we'll send you a link and you can be with us to discuss anything you want. First of all, we would like to say that we're not going to be supporting the Leagues Cup. We're going to be joining the boycott throughout the league from different entities. We are not condemning the people that are going to the games. We're not condemning the people that want to support Orlando City. They're free to do so. This boycott does not stand or mean that we don't like the club or we are angry at the club or we don't support the players. By the way, the players have been informed of the situation and they understand and they're fine by that. They're going to try to win the games. They're going to try to lift the trophy. God bless them. We hope that they do. They will do it without us. And for that reason, I'm going to open the mic for Ahmed and John to make their feelings known of the reason why they support the boycott. And then I will be joining last. Go ahead, Amin.
I think it's really self-explanatory, right? I was trying to explain it to my son. He's 11, right? So it was like, it's almost like you're participating in the Olympics, and then somebody comes by and says, "Oh, well, we're going to start our own tournament," and then the next year, you have both of them, but we're not going to join the Olympics. We're just going to do ours, and like that's the only way I could explain it. So it really doesn't. It just rubs everything the wrong way. Put it that way, and it doesn't do any serve. If we kept it like last season where we had both, I don't think any of this would have been an issue. But to really just say, you know what, basically give the middle finger to the U.S. Open Cup, which is an actual tournament, you can't do that. And I don't know. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but that's the situation we're in. That's all I have to say, man.
In my opinion, the Leagues Cup is the embodiment of of one of the biggest issues in the sport today. And that is where the big money, the people that run the leagues, run the clubs, are trying to take the sport away from the common man, if you will, and make it into a money-making product that is basically a sideshow for the rich. That's been shown with what Miami's doing, how much they jack those prices up, how much the league jacks the price of tickets up anytime Miami goes into a new town, and that's even before the resale market gets a hold of them, and then they go on resale. The Leagues Cup is there for nothing but Don Garber, the clown of a commissioner that the MLS has, to stuff his pockets full of money by using a sport that he admittedly doesn't care for, and then throw aside the greatest tournament that we have in this country, the most historic tournament that we have in this country, one of the most historic tournaments in in the world for the sport, and just to cast that aside for a quick couple bucks. That's not what the sport's about. That's not what sports are about, period. They're about the history behind the sport. They're about the history behind the clubs, and throwing away the US Open Cup for a quick money grab is an absolute atrocity. And that's the reason, even if these two were still going to be joining it, I would be stepping aside and not partaking. We're not watching it. I'm not watching it. We're not attending. And like David Ahmed said, we're not going to be covering it whatsoever. I hope the boys the best. Hope we win the thing. But as a personal stand, I cannot partake in a tournament that stands for what the League's Cup stands for.
Very well, gentlemen. I have nothing else to add but to say that had our forefathers not taken a stand, we'll still be part of England. Had uh, our forefathers had not taken a stand during the Civil War, there'll still be slaves. At some point, you have to stand for something. And I'm not comparing the League's Cup to those monumental events in our club's history, as in our nation's history, as if they were equal. But you got to stand for what you believe in. We are a country where individuality, where free thinking, where freedom is celebrated, respected, and encouraged. I myself gave 3 years of my youth, actually five altogether if I count the reserves, to make sure that you and I and the gentleman on the screen have that freedom. And I can tell you that there's people in the front office that agree with us. Obviously, they can't do it publicly. There's people in the club, in the staff, in the bench, in the starters, managers that agree with us 100%. But obviously, as you can say, they can't because it's the way of making a living, and we respect that. But we, the fans, the consumers, the ones that have the money that makes all this roll around. Because if the pandemic taught us anything, without the fans, this is just 22 men kicking a ball, and we have to take a stand. And this is what we believe is the right thing to protect our national interest, the growth of football, and also to remind Don Garber we are his boss, not the other way around. So to the boys of the 407, to our club, to our staff, to our front office, we wish them the best in the tournament. We hope they win it all. They lift that ugly trophy, that coffee percolator looking trophy, and that we get to if with that we get back to Champions League, so be it. Because I support the club, I support the batch, I support the collars.
So
Uh,
that brings up a good question that was brought up on Twitter, David.
go ahead, brother.
With us and the others, I'd be interested to hear people's opinion that aren't going. And I'll give my opinion once I finish the question. The person asks, essentially, I'm paraphrasing. With this boycott, are you going to celebrate if Orlando City wins it? And basically, my opinion on it is what I will celebrate is a berth in the Champions Cup, not the title of the cash grab tournament.
Very well.
What do you guys think?
Well, in my respects, that's a great way of looking at it. I personally, like I said, it's a club achievement, and I'll be happy for them. But once again, we're boycotting the actions that led us to this place, not that League's Cup exists. That, like Ahmed said last year, it was inconsequential to me that both tournaments were equal in time and space. And I will finish with this: that regardless of where you stand with this, it's Orlando City 24/7, and we have to, like I said, we have to take a stance on what we believe is the right thing to do. So with that, Ahmed, if you have anything else to add, so we can move on.
No, man. I think we got it. I think we're good.
Okay, fantastic. In that respect, we are going to go on. OCB played in New Jersey this past weekend, 1-1 result. Obviously, as you know, the the Red Bulls won the penalty shootout. I felt we had it. We sort of gave the game the shootout away. We came back, and that's what counts. OCB continues on their trajectory to try to get to the playoffs. Anything you guys want to add about the OCB game?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, great. Well, guys, we this past Wednesday went to Music City, to one of the most important cities in the volunteer state, Tennessee. A club that is in a spiral after the firing of Gary Smith, former Stevenage manager, by the way. I should throw that out there. Um, Nashville has been a club so similar to us. It's incredible. Born in the USL, brought into MLS, a club that throughout their history have always made playoffs, mind you. In 2020, they did so by defeating Inter Miami in the wild card game in a season where they finished ninth. Uh, they eliminated us from the playoffs 2 years ago, and they have we had our battles with them. I think the end result, which was 3-0 in favor of the boys of the 407, the Purple Maniacs, the Lions, your club, could have been worse had Joe Willis, a goalkeeper that I respect a ton, a fantastic warrior, a competitor. On the South Side, we're always giving crap, and he's always exchanging jerseys with the fans. To me, is awesome. That's great. That's what the sport is all about. Kept the result respectable. Um, let's go with what you guys think, John, and then Ahmed, about the game. By the way, I have to mention incredible away support, and among them, if we have the image, we have our
Yes.
president of club operations, Jared Dillon. Jared, hopefully I got your title correctly. If not, I will fix that. And the man, I gotta tell you, before we go, guys, if you allow me 2 minutes, when we criticize the bad with the club, if you can zoom in a little bit, I mean, if we criticize, where's he at? There he is. There he is, right there. If you can put the cursor, there we go. When we criticize the bad with the club, seldom we say that things are good. Jared Dillon has always treated me with the utmost respect. He makes me feel like, hey, a longtime friend when I talk to him. He listens. And what we have is a resurgence in our club, a resurgence of pride in our club's history. He was a proponent of the banners for the USL championships. He was a big proponent of that beautiful jersey that the girl behind him is wearing. I see that there's a gentleman that has our 2014 home jersey for USL. He's somebody that has worked to create culture, and a guy that he admitted, hey, I'm just a regular American sports team executive, and now he is embracing what football culture is. He goes to the US to the Pride games, he goes to the MLS club games, and he goes to Orlando OCB, and he mingles with the fans. To me, that's what a leader should be, and I want to thank him for all the efforts because, like he said when we met for the first time, I'm not responsible for what happens on the pitch, but I want to make sure that what is surrounding that is better. I think our game day experience has been improving. He has plans. He has a lot of things that he plans to execute in the future. So for that, I want to thank him. I know that several people that went to the game in Nashville said that it was nice to see him there, and that it was nice to see that spirit that we have in USL 2011, 12, 13, 14, where the front office staff was mingling with the common folk, is returning. So, with that said, guys, if you have anything to say about the game, this is the time.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they looked decent. I mean, Nashville's just terrible. And for all the things that you know we said about the pitch, about our pitch, about our home pitch, this pitch, I'm gonna share a photo
Woo!
real quick for those watching.
Mamacita.
Was terrible. It's a glorified horse
It's
bastard.
horse stable, yeah.
I mean, I put on Twitter, and there's the movie from the '80s. Um, that I mean, I'll just look at that. Look how
That's really bad.
terrible that is. Movie from the '80s, basketball movie called Hoosiers. And there's a point. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. Still is. I could almost quote that from beginning to end without even seeing the movie. But there's one point where there's the two coaches get into it, and the coach says it's bad enough. We have to play in this cage you call a gym. Your players are playing like a bunch of gorillas because they were playing very dirty, just beating them up. So I mean, I paraphrase that. I mean, and Nashville's known for being a dirty team especially when things aren't going their way, and um, that showed. I said on Twitter through the show, I said it's bad enough we have to play a dirty team like Nashville, then we also have to play in their glorified horse pasture. I mean, that's pathetic. I don't know which was worse, their Nashville's effort on Wednesday night or their pitch. They were kind of hand in hand, and but the boys played well. I mean, they scored goals, which you've asked them to do, and
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the I'll get into it later. The issues were still there that I've seen for 2+ seasons now, 3 seasons honestly, and we're lucky to be winning, to have not lost any games in the last now 5. So we'll see what happens after League's Cup.
Ahmed?
Yeah, man. I mean, the Nashville game, we talked about it. We said that, it should have been a good game for us. It was a good game. I don't think any of us were surprised, truly, like completely surprised, because of the situation that we're in, how we've been playing, how things are going for Nashville. So, but given that, to John's point, I think there were some things that, when you have a situation like that where you have the upper hand, you expect to see it's a chance for you not only to play well, but to iron out those deficiencies. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw them, even though the final result was a positive one. I think you could clearly see the opportunities for improvement there, even with the win. We did play well though. I can't complain. And the scoreboard showed it. So
No,
that's
I
what more
agree
could you
with that.
ask for? 3 points on a Wednesday.
Absolutely, my friend. And Ahmed, while I read this, if you don't mind looking for the graphic that shows how many points Orlando City accumulated in this time frame.
Yeah.
We open up the score with Cesar Araujo assist from Martin Ojeda on the 19th minute. Then we had a own goal originated by a free kick from Martin Ojeda. Imagine that you're playing your DP and he starts producing, and we finish the day with Ramiro Enrique with an assist with Ivan Angulo on the 81st minute. One of the filthiest, dirtiest. Those people have family. Have mercy on them. Goals I've seen in a very long time. And with that, we see on the screen. This is from an account on Twitter. It says, "Who's hot in MLS? Most points earned in the last 5 games played. Orlando City with 13, Seattle Sounders with 12, Inter Miami with 12, Columbus with 10, Vancouver with 10, FC Dallas with 10, Colorado with 10, LAFC with 10, and Houston with 10." And I remind you that out of all those clubs, Orlando City, from Columbus and from Inter Miami, excuse me, and from LAFC, that's expected. They're paying a ton of money for that roster. And guess what? They or Little Orlando City has outshone everybody. We have a comment, if you don't mind reading that.
Yeah, sure. Misael Rosa says, "Give us Schaffelberg and shut that team down."
No kidding, and not for nothing. Schaffelberg was a gentleman and a scholar. At the end of the game, he saluted everybody. I mean, Schaffelberg, to be honest with you, he's becoming one of my favorite players in MLS. The guy is just class. I think he deserves to be in a better team for sure. And what he did in Copa America with Canada cannot be understated. So I will take it. I can tell you that right now. Call me. I'll pick you up at the airport. Only he lives 7 miles away. What I gotta tell you about the game is that exactly like the guy said, is what we were expecting from a club that is having a very very hard time, and is going to be missing players for the very first time in their history. So I all I have to say is we played aggressive football. Imagine that, aggressive football. And if you look at the run that we had in the month of July, is insane. We scored 2 goals in Toronto, five versus DC, three in New England, three at Nashville, and one against New York City. That means that we only conceded in the whole month of July. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. We only conceded 3 goals, and we were scoring in the double digits. So to me, aggressive football wins the day. Is the type of football that we played in USL, and I think the boys are inspired, and we have to hope that after the League's Cup break, that we return to the hostilities with reinvigorated and ready to go. We have some comments, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Tour Rep one says homework definitely does. He definitely does.
Hmm.
I think he was
Very
talking
well.
to Schaffelberg.
So then, after winning and partying it down in the capital of bachelorette parties, Nashville, Tennessee. I wouldn't know that. I'm old and married, but I feel like I've missed out on that bacchanalia. Um, we return home. We return home. The stadium was packed, guys. I was shocked. The day had been 99 degrees with a heat index. It was 105, and yet people came to support the boys. I thought it was fantastic. Unfortunately, we scored a great goal, like we always do, and we concede a BS one. John, your thoughts about New York City?
We're lucky we didn't lose that 3-4-0. I mean, the goal that we scored, it was a gifted deflection where Ojeda cut it in and tried to go opposite post, and Enrique was just making a run to the near post, and that just clipped off of his toe, kind of on the near post side where the keeper was leaning away from it, and there was nothing he could do. Um, New York is a good team. They're a very good passing team, especially in tight spaces, because that's how they're used to playing. I was disappointed to see the boys not try to stretch the field, take advantage of that. New York stayed very compact. Didn't really, especially defensively, didn't really get too stretched out wide, and the boys didn't. I feel like didn't try to take advantage and get them to get New York to stretch out wide a little bit more. And then the goal we gave up again. The goal we gave up is what plagued us all year, where the boys get into a passage of play for 5-10 minutes or so, where they just can't clear the ball, and then a stupid turnover, unforced turnover turns into an easy goal for the opposition, and that same thing happened. I mean, it's happened match after match after match. We see it nearly on a weekly basis, and it's something they haven't cleaned up yet on the defense. And then going back to the attack, nobody yet again. They were against Nashville. I don't know the difference. Nobody was moving off the ball. Everybody was just kind of standing there watching, hoping and waiting the ball came to their feet. And to start off with the lineup, I don't understand why you start Ladero ahead of Facu in that match. Facu's getting paid very good money to play a sport that, I'm sure the three of us would love to be in his position doing. And you're telling me he couldn't play because he played a game a couple days earlier. The dude's 23, 24 years old. I was, at 23, 24 years old, I was playing basketball 2, 3, 4 times a week, and I was trying to make a living playing golf. So, the excuses of he was tired, he was fatigued. Get in better shape, then work on your nutrition. You'll get into better shape and be able to make it those game matches. If he wants to play in Europe, he's going to have to. It's plain and simple. You see those guys play on a Sunday, play on a Wednesday, play on a Saturday, and go with the same starting 11 pretty regularly. So the excuse of him having fatigue, doesn't rest easy on me. And then I don't understand why Schlegel continues to start. The goal wasn't his fault, but he's given up several goals ball watching over this stretch of 5 matches to either give up a 1-goal lead or for the other team to pull ahead by 1 goal. We have to come back where we have a Brekalo, who's, in my opinion, once he starts playing, isn't going to be here for long. A team in Europe and one of the top 5 leagues is really going to want him to play for them because I think he has, amazing talent. And the fact that he's not seeing the field is puzzling to me.
Ahmed?
I mean, for me, this game feels like a loss. Right? I really don't care what you say. You could say we're extending our unbeaten streak. If we're not winning a game, it's a loss. On paper, it could be a different story. That felt like a loss because to me, that was the first game in a long time that was going to be really the true test of how are we doing as a team, right? We just talked about like these last, 5 games? The last 4 games that we played, and we've gotten 13 points, right? Or 12 points, not counting this game. We scored 13 goals, but guess what? Against the team that does challenge us, we struggle to do that. It's easier to score against teams that are going through turmoil or are having issues. When you go up against a team that challenges you, how are you going to do? And this is how we do. I feel like this is as clear as day to give people a really true understanding of where we're at. It's the first. I mean, don't you think, John? I mean, this is the first. I think this is the first game that it's really been a team that was above us in the table, and that we expected to be a challenge. So we can clean house when they're not as below us in the table, but when we go up against the team, I mean, in that same range as who you have Cincinnati, you have Miami, you have who else? Help me out, guys.
Columbus.
You have all these teams that we struggle against. And we don't struggle against the lower ones. So we play four teams back to back, and we're like, yes, the guys are gelling. And then we go up against a team like New York that I'm not saying we're going to steamroll them, but we came out in that first half looking. We didn't come to play until like the second half, honestly. That first half, I don't know what we were doing. We're not the same team from the last 4 games. And you know what? To your point, maybe they were tired, but you have one. Like my wife always says, you have one job. It's not like you have 2 jobs. You don't have to. You have one job. This is your job. Figure out how to be able to do it in those times. Because guess what? If you do as well as you think you're going to do when you start doing other tournaments, regardless if we care about them or not, it's going to be more challenging.
Absolutely.
How we handle these situations, I think this is clearly an indication that we may not be as good as we are all thinking we are right now after these last games.
Well, I met it
We're
goes
okay.
back to last Wednesday when we were talking after the match in our group chat. David said something like, we might have turned the corner, and you and I basically said, whoa, let's see
Yeah.
what we do on Saturday against New York first, because
Yeah.
that's been the theme of the season is we annihilate the teams below us. We come out looking great against the teams below us, but
and it's
then the teams
unfortunate.
above us, the teams above us, we come out and they look, whether it's the players are mentally psyched out, or the coaching staff is playing scared. Somebody looks like they're either planning for the match, to not take it and control the match in that first half.
Right. The fans, I'd see on the comments. Obviously, we're gonna get to them in a second. That to me felt like a loss, and
Mhm.
I was at a game by myself. Game was over. By the way, saw our good friend Mark. We spoke there for a little bit, and it felt like a loss. I just got up, shook hands with the people that I knew, say hello to people on my way back to my car. Got in my car, came home, drank a liter of orange juice, and I fell asleep on the couch. That doesn't have like signs of like depression. No, I just like I said, and the I don't no longer have a X account, so I couldn't like soak my sadness with the Den After Dark from our friends at Orlando Lions. And then there was no highlights on the TV, so I just went to bed. And like I said, I was really sad because when you come with that momentum, the games, the 4 games prior to this one was like the beginning riff of Eye of the Tiger. Like you're like yeah, and we're gonna beat these guys. That mind you, New York City came to the league with us. They've been favored by allowing them to basically play for a decade in a baseball field. Shame on you, MLS. And the fact is that they won the MLS before we did. Talking about an insane turn of events. I know the guys were singing NYCFC, you got no history. I'm sorry, they have a decade. So at this point, they have a history, they have a trophy that we haven't been able to win. They have a star above their crest. So I think it's time to retire that because it was irrelevant in 2015, not anymore. But at the end of the day, listen, you can't win them all. You can't win them all.
Yeah.
But definitely we have to be beating the teams above us. I am so proud and so happy that the fan base showed up the way they did. I think there was more people there than there was people in the games before that. When we were in the losing streak or we were on the up and comings, it truly felt like the fans were there for the club. A lot of tourists, people from other MLS clubs showing up to watch to and then also a lot of our friends from the UK and Europe that continue to support us. And to me, to be honest with you, that's an incredible feather on our cap. Moving on to the future, as you guys know, the club is gonna take a month off to play Leagues Cup. When we return, we have 9 games. For those that think that we have a long time, I got news for you. We're running out. We got 9 games, 4 away, 5 at home. We got 6 points in August, 12 in September, and 9 in October. September is the month that definitely is going to build who we are. Right now, we are 4 points away from the wild card teams and 7 points away from not making playoffs. So we cannot allow ourselves to go on a bad streak. Remember, in football, all streaks, good or bad, come to an end. So that means that on the 24th of August, when we return, we're going out to Sporting Kansas City. Then we're going to be returning home Saturday, August 31st, welcoming Nashville here at home. Then in September, we have on the 14th, home against New England Revolution. On a Wednesday, 18th against Charlotte. The 21st away against Columbus. The 28th away at Dallas. in October, Wednesday, the 2nd, we have Philadelphia. The 5th, we are going to be away at Cincinnati, and we're going to be on decision day closing here at home on the 19th of October against Atlanta United. Um, very easy schedule, to be honest with you. Sporting Kansas City having an awful season. Nashville having a bad season. New England having a bad season. Charlotte is a team that definitely we can beat. And then you have Columbus, has been a really really tough bone to chew on over the years. It's one of those teams that, depending on how good we are, we either beat them or we don't. Dallas also having a hot and cold season. Philadelphia with their fans chanting "Sell the team." That already tells you the season they're having. Then we're gonna be against Cincinnati, a team that, in my opinion, is the only credible threat to win the Supporter Shield, other than Miami. And then, our rivals, Atlanta United, they beat us at home earlier this year, and wouldn't they love to send us packing in our own house? We have some comments, if you guys don't mind catching up on those.
Yeah, I gotcha. Let's see. Tour rep says the boys say they can't be showed but by the pride. LOL. And then he goes and says, I'm officially taking the title. I'd clash from Ruan and placing it on Angulo.
Yes, yeah,
A flash.
definitely.
He said, spot on analysis of Brecalo. Can you explain something to me? Why you bring Brecalo on in the 85th minute?
A guy that was playing the Euros.
85th minute. Like that, like not for nothing. Had we won that game, had New York City not scored, it still would have felt like we didn't play the way we should. I'm just saying.
Correct.
I'm saying
Correct.
because there was so much there.
Correct.
Vixen says 100% agree that it felt like a loss. Ahmed, thanks. Thanks for making me feel better. And then Misael says, agree, it felt like a loss. Finally played a team better than us. Also, Freeze was balling, having a good season. Absolutely. Misael goes on to say, I know you guys don't want to talk Leagues Cup, but we do need to do good in it to keep momentum going when the league play returns. Losing early in that tourney and having almost a month off can hurt us.
That's true. That's true.
Absolutely.
Or could
Absolutely.
or could be beneficial for us that
Yeah.
have injuries.
But you know
Uh,
what, David? Also, like we always say it, when it gets down to tournaments, a tournament is a whole new ball game. So maybe this will be an opportunity for the guys to, you know, work
play the
through some of
kids.
those things they have to work through,
Play
and
the kids.
you never know. You never know how it'll turn out for the
No, no,
guys.
you never know. That's absolutely 1,000%. Now
I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna go on a tangent. John, I'm sorry, John. Do you have anything to add to the clubs that we're gonna be playing next?
Just what you were saying about the rundown right now. If the season were to end today, we would be playing Cincinnati. Would be two at Cincinnati and one here if we won one of those first two matches. But at the same point, Cincinnati is struggling. Their defense is depleted. They which U.S. international did they have in the as a center back?
Zimmerman.
No, that's Nashville.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't remember. This
You
is
got me,
game.
bro. Sorry, guys. Don't keep up.
But he's out for the season. I'm trying to find it. He's out for the season. See if he's even on here.
Well, I'll tell you what, FCC, as long as they have Lucho Acosta, they're good to go.
But yeah, I mean, he was injured this past Saturday. He didn't.
Oh, he
play.
was.
Wow.
I believe so. Like I said, their whole defense is depleted right now. So yeah, they beat Miami 5-1 or 5-0, whatever it was, a couple weeks ago, and then they've lost 2 or 3 straight since then.
Mm-hmm.
So they're falling. They're only 5 points ahead of Columbus now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you go on your tangent, and then I have a mini one to go on and then a big one to go on.
Sure. Mine is a very simple one and actually not football related. As a fan base, have you guys noticed that the Orlando City Foundation has sort of like backed out of the activities they used to do. We had the mini pitches. We had the players going to the hospital. We had the players going to the read to the children at schools, and all of a sudden, like that ceased. I just I was wondering if any of you guys had noticed that. What separated Orlando City from other sport teams that I support here in the U.S. is that that arm of the club that is taking care of community business. And with my overseas clubs, the foundation is always critical. It's always doing things, in the community, helping out people, and obviously promoting the club in the process. And I always love that. I know K. Ronza has done a fantastic job with that. But it just sort of has muted in the past 2 years, where we don't see that interaction, that action that we used to see before. So I was wondering if you guys had thought the same.
Yeah, I mean, I did notice it. It's definitely something that they haven't been doing as often. I'm not sure if that's tied to anything though. Do you think there's anything behind it, or is it
No,
just
I
coincidental?
honestly, it's a charity. It's works independently from the club. I just, like I said, I was surprised. The reason why I tell you that is, um, when I was working more in depth with RMC, that's Orlando Regional, the flagship hospital of Orlando Health. I used to see a lot of the players all over the place. They used to visit the Arnold Palmer Hospital, for children's. And I heard a lot of stories of the fans, the patients that really love that, and also when the kids will go to schools, Kingston and all that, and of course the mini pitches were the tangible impact of the sport in our communities. And I just noticed that we were not doing as much. I don't know the behind what's kind of, the behind closed doors was happening. I don't feel there's anything nefarious or that somebody's trying to change anything when it comes to that. It's just that I miss that community involvement, and perhaps we needed to miss them, because sometimes you take things for granted,
Hmm.
and as a supporter of Orlando City, that always brought me a lot of happiness to see how they will do things for the community. There will be, they have the raffles of like game worn stuff, and then they like I said, they will be doing a lot of things, and a lot in showcasing what they were doing in the community, independently of what Orlando City was doing. I thought that, that was pretty good. John, if you have anything to add.
No, I agree with you. I feel like they it seems to be much less this year than it has been in past. Especially, I do know they have the back to school drive going on now, for school supplies. I've seen some things on that on their socials.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no rhyme or reason for it. Just you bring it up, it feels like it's kind of fallen off a little bit this year for whatever reason.
No, absolutely. And when it comes to the drive, if you can support it, please do. My wife is a school teacher, and I can assure you that there's needs in our community that not necessarily are met. There's a lot of working class folks that struggle, and this drives is what keeps the kids afloat. And you gotta remember, kids are the future of our community, and we have to do right by that. I was happy to see that the national anthem was played or performed by the Lake George Elementary uh, chorus. My wife worked in that school for 3 years, and she was very happy to hear that the boys were taking I said the boys, but the kids were taking time away from their summer to perform. Also, I believe the Orange County Teacher of the Year was honored at the game, which was fantastic. I think in our community, in our society, I make a pause there on the podcast to talk about something I'm very passionate about. My wife has been a school teacher for over 10 years. It's extremely thankless job where you go out there and you are busting your hump for very little compared to other adults that have a bachelor's degree. And you really have to love what you're doing. The impact of my wife in the community is always seen when we go to Orlando City games or when we go to the supermarket and she runs into former students and see them now grown, doing big things. To me, it's just fantastic. So I know that on social media and on this 24/7 news channels, they vilify the teacher. They're always saying, "Oh, well, those people have summers off. They should be thankful they have a job." But teachers do a lot of things to support our community, and I think they deserve. Orlando City. How about once a year dedicating a day for teachers? You know what? Since somebody watches us all the time, how about we dedicate at the end of the year when we finish the school year? Let's get some free tickets for the kids or a half price or something. Let's celebrate. Giving more ideas. I should have been a marketing executive, but
I know in years past, David, I think it's right at the beginning of the school year, or could be at the beginning of the season.
yeah,
They
brother,
have the OCPS night where they do the discounted tickets and whatnot.
very well. Very well. No, that's awesome. Again, just giving ideas to the club. Listen, the club is not having a hard time getting butts on seats. That's a fact. Saturday proved that. Um, I mean, if you can catch us up with the comments so we can let our
Yeah.
guest in.
Yeah, absolutely. Misael says the Brecalo thing, I looked at it as don't fix what ain't broken. I know he better than Schlegel, but I was in
Hmm.
agreement to keep the same team going while we're hot. And I agree. I just
Yeah.
think Schlegel, looking at Schlegel during the game, I think he could have come out a little sooner. I was just surprised that Oscar waited that long for me,
No,
at
that's
least.
true.
You
And I'm
know?
with Messiah. If you play the hot
Yeah.
hand.
But also to continue with that, Lodero starting over Facu is what I didn't understand. And that's what I texted you guys, right?
Yeah.
Everyone on Saturday played Wednesday, so no excuse. I completely agree with you. That was the first thing that stood out to me. I'm like, why is Facu not starting? To your point, Misael, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Why?
If he was
Why?
only gonna play 45, let him start and take him off. A lot of people
Yeah,
said that.
absolutely. And then Johnny Ridner says, does anyone get PTSD from when those girls went around with an arm wave thing a few years back?
Yeah, buddy. Woo! Let's let our guest in,
Yeah, I got it.
my good friend from St. Augustine, because I want to go down that rabbit hole. I want to go down that rabbit hole. And we have our good friend Vixen. How you doing, Vixen? Welcome to You're on the Capo stand, my friend. You're muted, brother. Vixen, I think you're muted, bro.
Hello?
Yep,
Yeah,
there you
there
go.
we go.
Hey,
How you doing, man?
thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me back. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Doing great. Thank you, brother.
Awesome.
All right. So,
Oh,
what you want to talk about, bro?
I want to go back to Maciel's comment about Falco not starting. I mean, we had guys yesterday go play with Peru on international duty. Then 2 days later on a random Wednesday, there's a weekday match, and he's there. Look at Teshua Kendeli. He goes to play for Canada for 60 minutes for La Copa de Oro in Houston, Texas, to play against Mexico, and then he comes back like on Saturday. To
I
play.
remember that.
Come on. I mean,
There had to be something else. There had to be another reason.
all right.
It can't be
Injury,
just being
perhaps, or
tired.
the players say, "Hey, I'm just tired." I mean, it could be.
I'll give you guys the reason, and I say it all the time in our group chat. Maybe Faku is not one of Poppy's boys, and that's
You
why he
think
didn't
so?
start.
Oh
Wow.
wow,
Wow.
that's a conspiracy theory. That's aluminum foil hat territory, but well, I'll take it. That's what the show is all about. Hey,
Yeah.
Vixen, how did you see us this past week? A win and a tie, important points, and also, you can give us your thoughts about Leagues Cup.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go back to the first question. I thought we did great, against Nashville. I mean, it was against Nashville on a very terrible pitch, but
Hmm.
3 goals against Nashville in their stadium, it's not bad at all. And I was very upset for Cartagena to give away that ball against New York City. I was like, come on, man, are you serious? But we're still undefeated, and I want to go back to something that occurred last year. Last
Go ahead,
year,
brother.
we had a terrible game against Real Salt Lake in downtown Salt Lake City. Then right after that, we are on an 8-match undefeated streak. After that, now next year later, we lose a terrible game and New York City and against New York City FC, an away game, and then right now we're on a 5-game undefeated streak. So just something I looked into. Like this sounds a lot
No,
like what happened last year. It sounds like a lot what happened last year.
yes, it was in July. I remember that game exactly because I was in Puerto Rico, and I believe we lost 4-0 at Salt Lake City. And like you said, it was one of those things like, where do we go? Where do we go from here? And we responded by going all the way to the top. So
I appeared on your podcast the week after that occurred, and I told you guys that I think that this loss has taught us a lot, and referring back to the Real Salt Lake case, I was like, I believe this loss has taught us a lot, and I think the team will get better from what occurred in downtown Salt Lake City. And look what happened. I was right about that. We went on a pretty decent undefeated streak right there,
mm,
and yeah, I mean, so now hopping onto the Leagues Cup
mhm,
top. I hope we do well. Like who wishes bad on their club? Like I don't.
right.
No.
I would love for them to do great, and vamos Orlando. Like of course, like if we do great in the Leagues Cup and we come back into the season, like just imagine like how much more, how much more oomph the team will
Right.
have, and yeah, there was this is something else that you said, David. Like you saw tourists at the Orlando City game against New York City.
Mm,
Like I was thinking like if I was like in Austin or visiting like another random city, like if I knew like in 2 weeks later Austin will be playing like against Orlando, like absolutely
mhm,
I would be go to an Austin game to see like how they play. Um
right.
like or like anything, like if I was in Seattle, like who knows, that Orlando might be playing against Seattle in the playoffs,
Mhm.
or for the Champions Cup or whatever, something like that. Like I would be down to go to
No,
like
absolutely.
a
Listen,
red game.
I saw a guy from with a Columbus, not Columbus, with a Charlotte jersey, and a guy with Seattle jersey, and of course New York City. Understandable.
Yeah.
The one thing that I want to understand, because when I saw this, funny story. I was heading to the restroom, and I was passed by three, counted three grown adults with Inter Miami Messi jersey and pants. Total full kid wanker. And they go by, and this New York City fan looks at them in shock. And then he looks at me because I was the fourth person in that row. He looks at me and goes, I thought that only happened in New York. And he just like fist bumped me. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That throughout the league, people are going to random games where Messi and Inter Miami are not participating, dressed like that. I have to say, I have to say, and I give everybody the authority. If I ever, David Valentin, your friend David Valentin, ends up at 655 West Church Street, dressed head to toe in interloser Pepsi gear, you are authorized to give me a right and a left. You're authorized. You got my permission. Give me a right and a left. That is the most nerdy thing you could do. And I'm sorry, that is Glory Hunter to the 25th power times 15. That's basically what that
So,
is.
so the infinity power times
So
infinity.
there you go, brother. Enough said. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't understand. I don't get it. So with that, all right, Vixen. We're gonna take some time off, my friend. So we'll be back at the end of August. Hopefully, you'll be
Yeah,
able to join us then. And you already
absolutely.
said, that you're putting all the effort for our boys to do well in League Cup. Like we said, we support them.
Of course.
And hopefully when we come back, we'll make those playoffs. And we'll make the playoffs to win them, sir.
I have a quick question to ask you guys. I just
Sure. Just a
I was
second, Vixen. John, do you need to be brought back in? No, you're good. Okay, go ahead, Vixen. Sorry.
just a quick question. I was talking to a few of my other friends about this, and recently for the past couple months, we've been talking about like Papi out or
Yes.
Pareja being fired. Okay, uh, so I'm curious what the listeners on YouTube will say to this as question as well. So I don't know if they want to comment or the listeners on Spotify or whatever. Do you believe Oscar Pareja should still be fired if we make it to the MLS Cup final, but lose?
Oh,
But lose.
Great question.
But
I'm gonna let Ahmed answer that first.
oh man.
we still walking away with a silver medal in theory.
Yeah. I mean, it's really tough, because there's so many factors. Where the team is today, I mean, if you say to me, if we were to make the playoffs today, where would we would not even get that far. For us for what you're saying to happen, at least from my perspective, there would need to be a drastic change in the way the team is playing right now. Because the way we're playing right now, I feel like we get to the playoffs, we're out in the beginning. Just based on like what we saw this last game. Could we maybe get a little bit past that? Yeah, but I truly can't see us getting that far. If by some miracle we were to get into the final and lose, get second place, I think we would definitely need to reconsider that.
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, reconsider it, because if that's something that he did, right? If we're saying that this is because of Oscar, because right now everything is because of Oscar, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean,
Absolutely.
but the likelihood of that, I can't see that.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in theory, like in
theory, in theory, if we made that dramatic a turnaround, I think you would be hard pressed to say we want him out, because you'd have a result. You know what I mean? Like you'd also have the whole season, and you could say, well, that was an anomaly, but it's a harder argument when you're sitting there with a silver medal.
Yeah. To me,
You know what I
anything
mean?
this year below conference finals is a disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna leave it to the staff. I think Orlando City is very comfortable having Oscar. I have nothing negative to say about Oscar. I've said it many times. I think it's time to try something fresh idea, something new. If we continue this hot and cold seasons, and we continue this situation where as of right now we are making playoffs as a lower seed, and it's not over. We got still 9 games to play, and anything can happen, because say it with me, guys, football is cruel and unpredictable, and it's not played on grass. It's played on grass, not on paper. We say that not because it sounds cool, it's because those are factual events that happen in our beloved sports. Vixen, we want to thank you for being here
I
again,
wanted
my
to add to
friend.
that real quick before he
Yeah,
goes.
go ahead, brother.
In my opinion, it would all depend on how we lose.
that's what I
If
took
we
note
lose
of.
going down in a blaze of glory where it's
Down swinging.
4-3 thriller with LAFC and they're just better than us. Sure, if we go out like we did last year and against Columbus, where we play extremely defensive, we're on the back foot the entire match, and we're playing scared. Because if you remember last year, either right before or right after Leagues Cup, I called that was my biggest fear going into the playoffs was that we were going to get up against a team better than us and play,
Park the
go
bus.
for a Poppy special at home, and that's what happened. So I mean, to me, what you're getting with Poppy as the coach. The question that would have to be answered by the front office is, cool, we got second place, but would a different coach, would Wilfred Nancy, for instance, would he have gotten his team to win the cup? Would, name your coach, is there somebody else out there that could have got us?
Which is why I think Berhalter got fired, because the U.S. Soccer Federation saw how Jesse Marsh was doing with Canada. They were like, "Yo, we almost had this guy." Very good point. Very good point, my friend. Very good point. I was saying that John, you also said like it depends on how we lost. Like I was like, would you say it depends whether or not the ref was fair? Unfair PK to the opposing team, red card, and
good teams overcome bad officiating.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Good teams. That's I've said it before on the show. That's an excuse. Excuses are like butts. Everyone has one, and they stink. For instance, I got this pulled up already because this is going to be the rant. Vixen, and for the people listening, I apologize. It's a photo, but basically, until we can consistently stop seeing. This is the Orlando City B match, but this is what we consistently see is this space right here, 25 to 40 yards out from the goal line, ball side where there's basically penalty area extended towards midfield where there's nobody. And people always wonder why, when the ball gets over here in the corner, we have to pass it all the way back to the center backs and recycle it through in order to get it to the other side. One thing that we did so well 2 matches ago, who we played 2 matches ago, I can't recall.
New England.
The ref.
The one thing that they did so well against New England is Ojeda was always in the spot. And against Nashville and against New York, nobody was in that spot at all. So until we can start seeing the team not have that, because I brought it up earlier in the year too. I had a series of photos, 3 or 4, that showed that. That's when I'll say that they've made a change and there's something.
Well, I wouldn't see like what Cartagena did on Saturday night. Like I wouldn't see I wouldn't see you don't see LAFC or Real Salt Lake doing an error like that this season, or FC Cincinnati. I was like, come on, man. Like that just shows the reason why we're not up there.
Well, to bring up Cartagena, that banger that he had against Nashville at home last year. Where did he receive the ball at?
That area.
He received that ball. The ball was on if you're facing goal, was on the left side. It got put into that area. He took 1 or 2 touches and was able to hit a banger. That is the area when you're taught, at least the way I was taught, how to position players and where players should be positioned in soccer. That 20 to 40 yard out gap on the ball side is a danger spot because it's almost like in basketball catching the ball at the free throw line.
Yeah.
You can do so many things with it from that position, so many different passes in that position. And the defense will just collapse on you, opening something up, and you very rarely see it with a Poppy coach team.
No,
the last 3 years especially.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen something like that since Cartagena did it last year. So exactly correct, John. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Ahmed, we have some comments here to go on the final lap.
Misael said, those are the things that keep me Poppy out. I think this was in the start when Vixen joined. We were talking about it stuff. Yeah. And then Serge Ness says, Misael, totally valid. A lot of bad decisions with subs, and overall feels like he has no clue almost who to play. Nico Lodero passed his prime 2 years ago, and Muriel got quality, but same story as Nico's. Without 2 up top, he's worthless. Both need to go.
Yeah.
Misael says, or this is to your football's not played on grass, not played on grass, not on paper or dirt and trash, Bill.
Yeah.
And then Serge says, with Poppy's approach being scared to play number 1, we are not in danger to end up in the final. And
sadly.
I'm just saying, in theory, was my question.
No, in theory,
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Well,
with John Ames. One of your listeners said that question to me, and he's quite busy right now. So,
yeah,
John Ames, he listens and comments on your video on the podcast, and he was the one that thought about the question. So shout out to my friend John
for
Ames.
sure, brother, for sure. To go to wrap it up at the very end. First, uh, John Redner was talking about something. This is if you're playing an obscure game of trivia or city trivia. This happened 2 years ago, not last year, 2 years ago. This girl showed up out of nowhere wearing these flags. It was like something that you put on your arm and it will flap like a flag. I guess they were selling them because they had this cardboard thing saying the website where they could go to. I never understood why our security allowed that to happen. Because it's funny that they were pesking people to buy these stupid things. I haven't seen anybody buy one, but the issue is like a lack of security, and I have to bring up something that I was told by a supporter that there was some issues on some of the entrances where especially the entrances that were designed for employees where fans were getting into and not getting their stuff scanned. And to the club, security is always a paramount. I always feel safe at the stadium. Never had anything to doubt. So just bringing it up, that what I was told, I did not witness this or anything. But some people in past months and past weeks, I should say, have been telling me that sometimes some people are on top of their job, like in everything in life, and there's people that are like, eh. But when you're in charge of security, you should be someone that wants to do the best and the utmost. We all seen that meme of the guy not even patting people, and just letting people through, which is the most ridiculous thing. So that said, we have a comment from your dad, John. Do the honor, sir.
Yeah, I would like to see the goal difference with Muriel and Ladero both on the field versus both not.
Fantastic. You know what? We gonna at the end of the year, we tend to have one of those shows where we do a lot of math, a lot of statistics. For those of you guys that are sickos like me, I love the numbers. I love the numbers because the numbers don't lie. So that's food for thought at the end of the year. To be honest with you, because of we all work and we basically shove our food down our throat and log on 5 minutes before the show airs. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity to do that, but that's a fantastic Ray. That's a fantastic request, because the fact is, those bras that people call that stuff, that collects data, the heat map, and how much pitch they travel through and all that. So trust me, that information is being used. I had the opportunity 4 years ago to go to the training facility, going to the rooms, go to the weight room, going to the film room. I mean, and we were not allowed to take pictures. Only to find out the following day, the Orlando Sentinel published all the pictures, anyways. And I thought that, I mean, the level of technology and knowledge and medicine and everything that goes for these players that are nothing but like racehorses. These guys have to be top people performance. I thought that was pretty cool, and so we definitely hope that that we can do well.
The stat that I think would be more interesting would be goals per 90 with both of them on, rather than expected goals, or expected goals per 90, which I'm sorry, I'm not figuring that out.
No, right
But
now our PPG is 1.36.
no, with both on versus both
With
on.
Muriel
I
and
got you,
Muriel.
brother.
Yeah,
I got you.
because that would be the interesting thing. Like for instance, I did the math last week. I think it was last Thursday. Because Muriel and well, now I guess Enrique has one more than he does. Muriel and Enrique had the same amount of goals, and goals per 90 was like, if I recall, was like um, Enrique with like 0.75, and I could be wrong, and Muriel with like 0.03 or something.
Wow.
It was a huge. I don't think it was that big of a difference, but it was a massive difference between the two on their individual production.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, right now for Enrique it's 0.75 per 90, and for Muriel it's 0.20.
There you go.
And I agree with Ray's comment, his last one. We look very dynamic, very fluid without Muriel and Lodeiro and
Moreno.
Pitt. They're dead weight. Sorry to say that.
But that goes back to what I said
called it.
earlier about Faku. Is those two? It's obvious are part of Poppy's boys club, and will get playing time. No matter what. Kind of, to go back when to a Tesho Akindele situation. Now, yeah, he scored some good goals because he was in there.
Some game
But
winners too.
But there were times where it's like, why are you bringing Tesho on in this situation?
Right. No, I'm with you, my friend. Well, guys, we have reached the end. I want to remind everybody we'll be back on the 24th. Well, not the 24th. The 24th will probably be the Monday before that. No, I'm sorry.
The 29th.
Well, listen to me. We're gonna be late August when the week where we are gonna be going away to Kansas
19th.
City. 19th. We'll be back to obviously review everything that has happened. We want to wish the boys the best, no matter what. But like I said, we already talked about it. One of the things that before we go, we should touch is that one of our own is moving on, and that's Gaby Amado. That is going to be leaving us to work for La Liga, the first division of Spanish football. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've been to Spain. Obviously, I'm of Spaniard descent. 54% of me, according to 23andMe, is Spaniard, and Gabi is it's a very special person, very talented, speaks three languages: Spanish, Portuguese, and English. Obviously, she was part of our club. She elevated the sideline position. Her language skills allowed her to communicate in the first language of the player. She translated right on the spot. She went on the road with the club. Did the sideline reporting, produced content for the club, and unfortunately, with the Apple Plus, the communications side of the club has been reduced greatly, and it was time for Gabi to be able in a place where she can showcase her talent and her abilities. I had the opportunity to speak with her twice, and Gabi, you're gonna be missed. You're super talented. You put your brick on the wall, and whenever we run, our paths cross, know that Orlando is always going to be home for you, and this fan base is always going to consider you one of us. So all the best in Spain. It's gonna be fun. Spain is one of those countries that you could be in the Canary Islands, you could be in North Africa, in the cities of Ceuta, Melilla. You could be
Marbella.
yeah, you could be in the Balearic Islands. You could be all over the peninsula, and it's like I said, it's just gonna be a great adventure for her, and we wish her the best. If you guys want to add anything to that.
No,
I believe she's at. I saw a post. I thought I saw it that she's working specifically with Barcelona.
Okay, beautiful. I mean, a powerhouse of European football. So that definitely is gonna pay top dollar. And Catalonia is a beautiful part of Spain that right now is at its peak, being summertime. So we wish her the best again. Our club, the beauty of our club is people come, people go, but they come as strangers and they leave as family. That's the way it's always been. We're told that Scott Sutter, former Orlando City player, is going to be producing content for the club. So we wanna welcome him, and another great guy that
Yeah.
decided to make Orlando home after the his playing time was over, and that speaks volumes of the quality of our community and our fan base. Guys, anything else to say before we call it a night?
Good luck to Gabby. Um, Absolutely, she was fantastic with Orlando City. Sadly, I've never been able to meet up with her.
Mhm.
I wish I could have, but good luck to her and Scott Sutter. I still remember watching the goal that he scored against Seattle Sounders. Um,
Oh,
to tie the game and
with the assist from Kaká from a free kick.
from CenturyLink Field.
My goodness, you guys are dragging me back to
20,
obscure moments of
2017.
this club. Yeah,
2017.
but come on, Vixen. Enough, sir. Leave something for the poor.
That whole lineup,
Uh,
man. It was Sutter, Spectre, then Jose Aja, I think,
uh,
and then
bro,
left back.
I gotta go watch that on YouTube when we're done here.
Yeah,
Stop
I'm
it.
right there with you. I'm right there with you, my man.
Yeah, man. So we got something here on the screen, John, if you don't mind.
Yeah, earlier last week it came out that Orlando City signed Dagger Dan Thurhausen to a contract extension through 2026 with an option for 2027.
Yep.
Great move by the club. He's been by far the most consistent player this season.
Most improved too.
And he's just seems to be improving. An absolute baller of a player.
Playing
lot of skill
on
on
an
the ball.
unnatural position too.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I gotta tell you this thing about DDT. DDT loves to be in Orlando. DDT's learning Spanish. Um, the guy really wants to make it happen. For those that don't know, Orlando's home of a sizable Icelandic community, where we have between 3 to 4 thousand Icelandic folks. On a unimportant bit of information that may save your life one day. Uh, in our synagogue years ago, we had a Icelandic woman that married a local Floridian, and they were going to services with us, and like again, the Icelandic people, for being such a small country so far away, they love Orlando, they love Florida. I know DDT's girlfriend works for Icelandic Air, and she flies to Orlando frequently. So that's the one of the reasons why he wanted to be here. Is like it's a great opportunity for them to see each other often. And last time I checked, round trip to Iceland from Orlando is $550. It's a beautiful country on my bucket list to visit. And as far as Dagger Dan Thorhausen, as DDT for the friends, the guy has really, he's in that Adrian Winter level of fanatism. The guy gives everything he has, and that's all I can ask. Remember, guys, my criticism or my praise is always going to come from a fat guy in the stands. These guys are the ones that make it happen. So, sir, we salute you, DDT. Thank you for everything. Guys, anything else to add?
Yeah, just came across on Twitter and I can't find it, or I would share it.
Go ahead, brother.
Looks like any player, coach, or anybody related to a club that speaks poorly about Leagues Cup is going to be fined $25,000.
What?
That's what I just saw. Yep.
Okay. Again,
Wait, are we related to anybody on the team?
no, we're not. We're not.
I'm
But-
not.
We're not. But remember, I'm not gonna say anything. Just for those that missed it, rewind the beginning of the show, and you will hear what I had to say about it, and the fact that I said there's a lot of people in the club that are standing with us, cannot say it. So again, we live in a democracy, But like anybody that has worked for a company can attest, if the guys that sign your check tell you don't do this, you're gonna do it because we'll have to bills to pay, and food, and food to eat, and put a roof top of our heads. It's how it is. So nothing, guys. We wish the boys the best. We hope that you guys gonna join us at the beginning, as we resume the league. Wish the best to our club and our organization. I will have to find a hobby. But the beauty is that European football is coming back.
Yeah,
So
in
my
26 days,
Steven,
Premier League.
yes, sir, my Stevenage and my Maccabi Haifa are coming back. I'm excited. I already bought my new jerseys. I threw a ton of money. My wife is upset
Yeah.
that once again I do not exercise good financial control and financial discipline. But I'm a football fan first, and if I have to rob a bank, I will always buy my jerseys. I will always go to the games, and I always pay for my TV rights to watch the games. And my wife the other day told me, "Hey, David, will it kill you to wear anything other than soccer jerseys and cargo pants?" And I said, "No, woman, I cannot, because I'm a fat man, I'm a fat dad, and this is what drives the ladies crazy. So I have to play the part." So, guys, anything else before we bid adieu to the fans?
I was gonna say about DDT. Like, well, you said that you would like to visit Iceland, David. I would like to retire in Iceland. I heard it's a beautiful country.
Oh, listen. When I was in the Navy, I knew guys that have been stationed there. Beautiful country. Our good friend Daniel from Lions Blog, OC Lions Blog, visited, I want to say, a year or two ago. And, if the pictures on Facebook look as good in real life, I got to tell you, that's something else. I don't know why DDT is away from the country, to be honest with you. I would love to go watch some football over there. It's just gorgeous.
For sure.
It's not super cold like some people think, because the thermal waters around the island keep it ice free. The Iceland name doesn't really apply to the country, and the Icelandic people are super 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 friendly. Everybody speaks English. It's just a great place to go, and definitely on my bucket list. I wish I would have gone when I was young and single, but
Like me.
yeah. Okay, Vixen right now, that just shot up through the top of the table, and you never know if Vixen, if you go and find yourself some Viking princess, you remember all three of us have to be invited to the wedding. So
All right.
that
Yes.
that's a fact. All right, guys. Thank you again, Vixen, for joining us. Ahmed and John. Thank you very much for everybody. Let's go ahead and close it, because if not, we're gonna be here till 1 o'clock in the morning. To the Lions, we wish them the best, and to the fan base, remember, my friends, doesn't matter where you are on the argument. Remember, we're one fan base, we're one people, we're one spirit, we're one voice. So, regardless of how you feel about the upcoming events, remember, we gotta will our guys to the win. So, I would like to remind everybody that football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is played on grass, not on paper. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you really football? From myself, from Ahmed, from John, and from Vixen, may God bless you. And as always, vamos Orlando!